Hey guys, welcome back to The Mind of Brandon, and welcome back to some more discussion of Zeitgeist. So to recap, in the first part of this series, we determined that regardless of what debunkers were saying, Zeitgeist was actually right about the Egyptian god Horus being a sun god. And in the second part, we determined that regardless of what debunkers were saying, Zeitgeist was also right about Horus having a birthday associated with what we now consider to be December 25th. But of course, just because Zeitgeist was right about those things, doesn't mean it was right about everything. So let's continue to investigate Zeitgeist's claims.
Broadly speaking, the story of Horus is as follows. Horus was born on December 25th of the virgin Isis Mary.
As for Horus, he also had no virgin birth. Isis had sex with Osiris after reassembling his body parts, which were torn apart and scattered over Egypt.
Well, obviously in that particular myth, Horus is not born of a virgin. But something we established in the very first part of this series is that there are different versions of Horus. So, don't you think that means there's probably different versions of Isis too? There are. In fact, Isis isn't even always considered Horus's mother. If we're going off the etiological myth associated with the Apagamental days that occur at the end of the Egyptian year, in that continuity, Isis is actually Horus's younger sister. Not that much younger. He's born on the second Apagamental day. She's born on the fourth. But if that's the one that you were exposed to, if that was the myth you knew about, then the argument you'd be making is, what? Zeitgeist thinks that Isis is the mother of Horus? That's ridiculous. She's Horus's little sister, right? Zeitgeist lies. Zeitgeist debunked. According to Egyptologist Dr. Ray Witt, the Egyptian goddess who was equally the Great Virgin and Mother of the God was the object of the very same praise bestowed upon her successor, Mary, Virgin Mother of Jesus. And Dr. James Curl agrees. Isis was the sacred embodiment of motherhood, yet was known as the Great Virgin, an apparent contradiction that will be familiar to Christians. Here's one of the inscriptions where Isis is referred to as the Great Virgin. In the left corner, you can see it was originally interpreted as the Great Maiden, but that maiden can be used synonymously with virgin. And, according to reports from Plutarch and Proclus, at the Egyptian site of Sais, there was a statue that some of the Egyptians regarded as Isis, and the statue came with an autobiographical inscription in which the goddess claims to have begotten the sun god. She also states that no one had lifted her mantle, which would seem to imply that the sun god was virgin-born. Now, one of the forms the sun god took was the winged beetle pushing the ball of the sun, like we see in this image from the Edfu Temple of Horus. Just as we see Horus and Ra combined in the image of the winged disc, the winged scarab pushing the sun associates Horus with another sun god called Khepri, the sacred dung beetle, a god that represents the daily renewal of the sun, reborn every morning. Now, the main reason I even bring up Khepri, apart from his association with Horus, is just simply the fact that he's a scarab. One of the interesting things that the Egyptologist Bob Breyer talks about in his lecture series on the history of ancient Egypt is how the Egyptians thought that scarabs were a special kind of animal that only came in one gender, right? They thought that scarabs could reproduce without having sex, right? They just never caught them in the act. Suffice it to say, there seems to be plenty of justification for this idea that Horus was born of a virgin. But what about this Isis Mary thing?
And it says, born of the virgin, Isis Mary. Isis was not a virgin, and there's absolutely no correlation between the name Isis and Mary.
Oh, well, you guys heard the debunker. He says that there's no correlation between Isis and Mary. So there it is settled.
Isis Miri.
Wait, what?
Isis Miri. Isis Miri. Isis Miri.
According to my hieroglyphic detective, written by the Egyptologist Nigel Strudwick, the Egyptian word Mary just means beloved. Okay, and it's actually pretty common. You'll commonly see Mary attached to this name or that one, pretty much all over the place. So kind of like how we have a bunch of Marys in the New Testament, we also have a bunch of Marys in Egypt. How many Marys are in the New Testament, you ask? Well, Mary, mother of Jesus, of course. Mary Magdalene. Mary, sister of Martha and Lazarus. Mary, mother of James and Joses. Mary, wife of Cleophas. Mary, mother of John Mark. And Mary of Romans. So, once again, it appears the debunkers did not look far enough into this stuff, and once again, Zeitgeist is right. But this doesn't mean Zeitgeist is going to be right about everything. What about this stuff about Horus having a star in the east, signaling his birth, being adorned by 3 kings? Did Horus actually have 12 disciples? Well, if you guys want to find out if there's any validity to that stuff, then you're just going to have to tune in to my next video. So, to be continued, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. So have a good one, guys, and peace.